On November 24, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving, families all across America were preparing for the holiday. Airports were packed. People were rushing home to their loved ones. And at Portland International Airport, a middle-aged man in a dark suit calmly walked up to the Northwest Orient Airlines counter and bought a one-way ticket to Seattle. He paid cash. He gave his name as Dan Cooper. He had no luggage. He sat down in seat 18C, ordered a bourbon and soda, lit a cigarette, and stared out the window like any ordinary businessman on any ordinary flight. Nobody paid attention to him. Nobody suspected anything. But this man was not ordinary. And this was not going to be an ordinary flight. What happened in the next few hours would become the most mysterious and baffling unsolved crime in the entire history of the United States of America. Welcome to Unknown 911. Nobody knows who D.B. Cooper really was. That name, D.B. Cooper, was actually a mistake made by a journalist who misheard the name. The man told the airline his name was Dan Cooper. He was described by every crew member the same way: calm, polite, well-dressed, and completely in control. Flight attendant Florence Schaffner described him as a man in his mid-40s, around 5 feet 10 inches tall, with dark sunglasses, a black tie, and a mother-of-pearl tie pin. He looked like a man who flew for business every single week. Florence was walking down the aisle collecting drink orders when Cooper quietly called her over. He handed her a folded note. Florence smiled, assumed it was a phone number from a lonely traveler, and slipped it into her pocket without reading it. Cooper leaned forward and said in a low, calm voice, "Miss, you better look at that note. I have a bomb." Florence's hands began to shake as she unfolded the paper. The note read, "I have a bomb in my briefcase. I want you to sit next to me." Florence walked to the cockpit on trembling legs and quietly informed the pilots. Captain William Scott immediately radioed Seattle Air Traffic Control. The FBI was notified within minutes. Seattle Airport went on full alert, and Cooper sat in his seat, completely relaxed, sipping his bourbon. His demands were delivered through Florence. $200,000 in cash and negotiable $20 bills, 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserve, a fuel truck standing by in Seattle, and safe passage. If his demands were not met, he would detonate the bomb and kill everyone on board. The U.S. government and Northwest Orient Airlines faced an impossible choice, and they made a decision that shocked the entire nation. They agreed to every single demand. While the plane circled Seattle for 2 hours, FBI agents raced across the city collecting $200,000 in $20 bills. Every single bill was photographed. Every serial number was recorded. The ransom was packed into a backpack at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. All 36 passengers were allowed to leave the plane safely. They had no idea what had just happened. Cooper inspected the money carefully, counting bundles and checking the bills. He accepted it. He strapped the bag to his body. Then he handed the pilots new flight instructions on a napkin. Fly to Mexico City, maintain an altitude of no more than 10,000 feet. Keep the landing gear in the down position. Set the flaps to 15 degrees, and keep the speed below 150 knots. These instructions, investigators later noted, showed an extraordinary knowledge of aircraft and aviation. This was not a random criminal. This man knew exactly what he was doing. The plane took off from Seattle at 7:40 p.m. into a dark and stormy Pacific Northwest night. Rain was hammering the aircraft. Visibility was near zero. Temperatures at that altitude were well below freezing, somewhere over the dense wilderness of southwest Washington state. At exactly 8:13 p.m., a warning light on the cockpit panel flickered on. The rear air stair of the Boeing 727 had been activated. Captain Scott called back on the intercom. Cooper did not respond. At 10:15 p.m., the plane landed in Reno, Nevada, for refueling as planned. FBI agents swarmed the aircraft. They searched every inch of the plane. Cooper was gone. The rear air stair was still deployed. One of the 4 parachutes was missing, and $200,000 in cash had vanished into the night sky over Washington state. The FBI launched one of the most extensive manhunts in American history. More than 300 agents were deployed. Military aircraft, National Guard helicopters, search and rescue teams, and tracking dogs combed through hundreds of square miles of freezing, dense Pacific Northwest forest. They searched for weeks. They found absolutely nothing. No body, no parachute, no clothing, no money, nothing. D.B. Cooper had completely disappeared. The area where Cooper jumped was later identified as a rugged wilderness near the town of Ariel, Washington. The terrain below was some of the most unforgiving in North America. Old-growth forests hundreds of feet tall, steep ravines, freezing rivers, and complete darkness. Professional skydivers who studied the case said the jump would have been extraordinarily dangerous, even for an experienced paratrooper. The wind chill that night was minus 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Cooper was wearing only a business suit and loafers. He had no helmet, no gloves, no cold weather gear. Many experts concluded he could not possibly have survived. But then, 9 years later, came a discovery that changed everything. In February 1980, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram was on a family picnic along the north bank of the Columbia River near Vancouver, Washington. He was digging in the muddy sand along the shoreline when his fingers touched something strange. He pulled out a rotting rubber-banded bundle of $20 bills. Then another. Then another. His family called the FBI. Agents arrived and confirmed the serial numbers matched exactly. It was $5,800 of D.B. Cooper's original ransom money. The bills were badly decomposed, partially buried, and scattered, as if they had washed downstream over many years. But here is what made investigators deeply confused. The money was found miles away from where Cooper should have landed, based on the flight path, and only $5,800 was ever recovered. The remaining $194,200 has never been found. Not a single bill, anywhere, ever. Over 1,000 suspects were investigated by the FBI over the next 4 decades. Richard McCoy Jr. hijacked another plane just 4 months after Cooper, using almost the exact same method, demanded $500,000, and parachuted out over Utah. He was caught and insisted he was not Cooper, but many investigators were never fully convinced. Robert Rackstraw, a former United States Army paratrooper with a criminal record, matched the physical description and had the skydiving skills required. In 2016, a private investigation team claimed secret coded messages hidden inside Cooper's letters pointed directly to Rackstraw. The FBI reviewed their findings and remained unconvinced. In 2011, a woman named Marla Cooper came forward and told the FBI that her uncle, L.D. Cooper, had confessed to being D.B. Cooper on his deathbed. She brought old family photographs and letters. DNA testing from evidence collected on the original flight was compared. The results were inconclusive. The case remained open. The debate over whether Cooper survived has never been settled. Those who believe he lived point to the fact that nearly all the ransom money was never found. If he died in the forest, the money should have been discovered near his body. They point to his detailed knowledge of the aircraft, suggesting serious military or aviation training. They point to the fact that no body, no parachute, no clothing, and no bones were ever found despite decades of searching. Those who believe he died point to the brutal conditions that night. They point to the fact that the parachute Cooper chose was actually a non-steerable military reserve chute, almost impossible to control during landing. They point to the freezing temperatures, the darkness, the dense forest, and the near-zero chance of surviving that terrain in a business suit and dress shoes. In July 2016, after 45 years and over 1,000 suspects investigated, The FBI officially announced it was suspending active investigation into the D.B. Cooper hijacking. The file was transferred to archive. The case was never solved. D.B. Cooper walked onto a plane on a November afternoon, collected $200,000, leaped into a dark, stormy sky, and was never seen or heard from again. No arrest, no confirmed identity, no body, no parachute, just $5,800 found rotting in the sand of a riverbank 9 years later. And a mystery that has haunted America for over 50 years. So I want to ask you right now, do you believe D.B. Cooper survived that impossible jump and lived out his days in secret, quietly spending that money somewhere? Or do you think he died alone in those freezing dark forests of Washington with $200,000 strapped to his body, never to be found? Drop your theory in the comments below. I read every single one. If you want more dark and unbelievable true American mysteries, subscribe to Unknown 911. New case every single week. Some mysteries were never meant to be solved.